So welcome everyone. I want to welcome you to the Foundation for Conscious Living's Big Leap Home community. And if you don't know me, I'm Michelle Yasuda, and I'm the program director for the Big Leap Home online programs. And so these programs support organizations, individuals, and communities in generating agency, connection, and creativity on our shared planet. And that makes me happy just saying those words.
Me too.
Yeah, and this call is really one of my favorite ways that I see this in action. The last thing is I'd like to invite everyone into a commitment. So when you listen to these words, notice how they land in your body. We find that learning works best when we choose to bring curiosity, openness to learning, and appreciation of ourselves and others into the space. So speaking of appreciation, I get the honor of appreciating our facilitators tonight. And Heath and Nicole, what I most appreciate about you is your impeccable integrity. And it's done with joy, ease, flow. There's like this, I'm here and I'm easygoing. It's not, I'm here and you better meet me here and we're going to do everything perfectly. It's like, hey, I'm inviting you into this space of impeccable integrity, and we're going to have a good time there. That's how I experience you. So I appreciate it. That's my story, and I'm going to stick to that story. And
I like that story.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that, Michelle. I couldn't think of a higher appreciation than being seen in our integrity, and also facilitating an invitation for a really good time, which is actually one of our big themes today.
It is, yes. How can we create the most fun, most joy with the greatest amount of ease as possible? Let's have a good time. Easily have a good time.
And all that. And how can we, in perfectly flawed ways, really enjoy ourselves even when we stumble over and make mistakes and take little side routes. As Michelle mentioned earlier, we love your feedback, your participation. So please don't hesitate at any time to get in touch, interrupt. Like we say, we don't see it as an interruption, but merely as an opportunity to connect, an invitation to play, collaborate, and co-create around this concept of self-care, and particularly a radical rethinking and redefining of what self-care means and how we can show up in our own personal practice and in our relationships and community with these principles, from both tender to fierce self-care.
Yeah, and I'd like to appreciate the whole foundation, FCL, the whole Foundation for Conscious Living community. I mean, like, this is exactly what we're up to, and it's wonderful to be in community, in communion with all you helpers out there, looking for different ways not only to help yourself, but to help and be in service of others, and to grow a community of care, of kindness, of sensitive attention and awareness. And we're going to get to play with our sensitive attention and awareness today as we discover that spectrum of fierce and tender self-care. Where are we on that spectrum? And how do I know what it is that I need in this moment, so that I'm not only available for myself, but I'm also available for those around me in my community?
And some of you know that our company name, it's a continuing education company for massage therapists, for yoga practitioners, movement therapists, is Living Metta. And metta is an expression we encountered when we were studying Thai massage more than 20 years ago in Thailand. And metta is an expression that means loving kindness.
So we're living loving kindness.
And we're most interested in how can we embody that loving kindness? How can we grow in our ability to give and receive larger amounts of loving kindness for longer periods of time? And self-care, taking action, and making daily investments in self-care, I think is one of the singular most powerful ways to enhance our ability to give and receive loving kindness.
Yes, and before we start diving too deeply into the topic, let's just go, let's practice like right from the start.
Yeah, let's get in our bodies, let's presence
Let's
ourselves.
embody, yeah, and use our presencing skills that we were taught through the Hendricks community, using our presencing skills to ground ourselves so that we can become more sensitive to our own needs, wants, and desires, and that we're available to respond to those around us. So taking a few moments to kind of adjust your posture wherever you are, to kind of find a way to enjoy being in your body. What one movement or several movements can you offer yourself that would make it much more pleasurable to be in your skin, in your body? And then using touch. Heath and I are touch therapy technicians and
therapists.
Therapists. I was like, what's that
word? Body workers.
Aficionados, I would say, masterful at this. And we'd love to use touch as a way to grow our present moment awareness. So after we've moved our body a bit, find a place where you'd like to make contact with your body. Maybe it's your heart. Maybe it's an area of tension or holding, and you just kind of want to give it the nudge to, hey, you don't have to hold on so much, or they're there. Maybe it's a low back or belly, thighs, or even your face. So just kind of notice where you contact yourself with one or both hands, and does that feel good?
I like to imagine like I'm in a dressing room trying on different clothes. I'm trying on different contacts. How does the fabric, how does the color look on me? It's like, how does that contact? Is it a gentle or a squeeze? Is it the front, the sides of me, the front and back?
Yeah.
And then check out, use your life as a living laboratory, use your touch as a way to presence into the moment.
And we can do that so beautifully with our breath. So now take a moment to breathe into where you're making contact with your body, with yourself. Breathe into your hand, breathe into that part of the body. Breathe forward into it, to the sides of it, behind it, around it. Fill that part of you with your breath, with your awareness, your attention. Maybe even let your lips kind of rise up in the corners, and you can feel yourself beginning to smile to yourself, smile to your body. And then taking pause to even notice your intention for today. Like, why am I here? What do I want to receive today? What do I want to walk away feeling? If I had a feeling, if there's a feeling I could walk away with after this is over, after this hour together, what would that feeling be? And let that breathe right into that. Let that rise to the surface. Let your breath cradle it, nurture it, nourish it. And then we can add that letting go breath. So we can inhale through our nose and exhale through an open mouth. Notice how that feels. And maybe you want more of a tonifying breath. Maybe it's an inhale through the nose, inhale out the nose. And then whichever one felt most delightful for you, give yourself that one more time. Yum. Using our presencing skills, that breathe, that breath, the movement, our contact, our touch, to help us kind of ground into the moment, to create kind of a home base for us to always come back to over and over again, to find out where am I? What am I feeling? What's going on? Locate.
These are breathe, move, touch. These are 3 of our most reliable allies when we are wanting to change our state of being, right? So we know we can't control everything around us. A lot of people spend a lot of time trying to control things they have no ability to control, like your partner or the people around you. If I had a magic wand, I would have Nicole never be sad, never be mad, right? But
I'd
yet
always be so delightful, aren't I already?
Of course you are. There's things that we spend a lot of time trying to control. Will other people like us? Will they be happy? Or we even think that, we have this idea that I can even control my own feelings. well, if I could control my own feelings, then I'd be pushing the bliss button all the time. Like, so, I mean, it's self-evident that we can't control our own feelings or other people's feelings because we're not in a state of complete adoration and bliss with ourselves and others.
I can show you where one of my bliss buttons are.
Well, I hope you do, but maybe off camera. Oh, naughty, naughty. And when we think of breathe, move, touch, we can look at it in a self-care way, I think is usually seen in a very passive way. Self-care, I think a lot of people conjure up images of a bubble bath,
A cup of tea,
little massage, or, you know, something kind of languid, easy, chill.
reading a book.
But there's also the care, the edge, the oomph, the activation, not just the yin, the soft, gentle, tender, soothing care, but there's also the oomph, the necessity to make a commitment. Well, it requires a little oomph. The necessity to recommit, the dozens or hundreds or more likely thousands of times it takes to actually achieve your goal.
To break through that inertia.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what we like to call the mama bear or the papa bear self-care. And so as we start to look at self-care, we want to reimagine what are our potentials. And that's not my slide. That's not my slide. Somewhere in here is our slide. When we go to Thailand, one of our favorite teachers, our master, as they say in Thailand, our Ajahn, he says, how can you feed someone else if your cup is empty?
If you're hungry, if you're thirsty, what have you got to share?
How can you feed someone else? You know, it's like that idea you hear when you get onto the airplane, like put your own oxygen mask on first. And yet I think a lot of us, if you're here, and I want to appreciate you devoting an hour of your life to get curious about how you can activate self-care for community wellness, I am suspecting that your ratio of giving care may be a little higher than your proportion of receiving self-care. Is that true for you? Check it out. But what we notice and what we've seen in our own life is that if we give and give and give, oftentimes we will give until it hurts.
Like literally, till I'm kind of irritated or angry or kind of
or get run down, exhausted, fatigued, sick. I take myself out of the game because I'm not listening to those signals that are requesting, please take care of yourself. Please rest a little more. I ain't got time for that. Let me stuff this food in my face. Let me just take some more caffeine, sugar, distract myself from my body signals to get over the hump and get her done. But instead, building out our repertoire and our reference point framework by which how we might give and receive our own self-care. And one thing that we find is intrinsically connected with our self-care is our awareness.
yes.
Yeah.
So redefining self-care as the regular practice throughout your day, not just the end or the beginning, but throughout the day, becoming aware of myself, noticing where I am located, using these presencing skills with breath, with movement, with touch, noticing how I'm feeling, what emotions are coming up in the moment, noticing how am I responding to what's happening or even reacting to what's going on around me. So letting ourselves have the space, creating the space in our day so that we can actually have a feeling.
Well, we can be cognizant, we can be aligned with what's true for us in the moment, right? If we don't take time to generate sensitive awareness, if we don't build in space on the daily, it's hard to know what we really want in the moment, what we absolutely don't want, what we really need and desire in the particular frequency or flavor of what we need and want or not. So to us, intrinsically, if you want to learn more about your awareness, if you want to be more self-actualized, more self-aware, if you want to grow your intuitive prowess, your ability to be sensitive to both what's going on inside and outside, self-care is going to help you triangulate, recalibrate to the truth of your present moment, and then from that standard, build it out. Yeah. So self-care is self-aware.
Yeah, it's the regular practice of becoming self-aware. And there's been someone out there who's done some really cool research. Oh, are we going there?
Well, I was going to talk
So,
about.
go for it.
Yeah. So do you know how long the term self-care has been in our lexicon? Do you know how long humans have been talking about the self-care thing?
No, Heath, how long?
Actually, it's only a couple generations. It was actually an outgrowth of the civil rights movement, the Black Panthers, and Audre Lorde was a big advocate. She was an incredible pioneer in civil rights, in women's rights, in gender equality, all these different important necessities in creating more ease and flow in our life, in our relationships.
Well, to create change in the world, to have impact politically, particularly for Audre Lorde, that for her self-care became self-preservation, so that she was able to make these big changes civically in her current context.
You know, as massage therapists, have an average life career span, how long their profession is. Can you guess how long a massage therapist is in the industry on average? It's about 3 to 5 years on average. If you found a talented touch therapist who's been doing this craft for 10, 20 years, they are an anomaly, because the majority of people get out of the field in less than 5 years. And the number 1, 2, 3 reasons is they hurt themselves, they get overwhelmed, they get burnt out. They give literally until it hurts, and they take themselves off the board. How can we, as caregivers, prevent trouble before it arises? Not only rehab maybe our own self-care deficit. So if you notice, a lot of us have attention deficit disorder where we don't give ourselves the quality and quantity of the attention we need. I think we sometimes have a self-care deficit. And if you notice you're in that place, well, there is so much more potential. We've been focusing, and one of the many things we do is we write the Savvy Self-Care column in the Massage and Bodywork magazine. And we have found in the 20 plus years we've been researching and practicing and embodying this, is that we've just scratched the tip of the iceberg. That self-care is relatively, just since the 60s has it been talked about. And as it's been commodified and put into consumerism and retail, it's kind of the saccharine sugar high of it has been elevated, and the practical how you can embody it and live it in your relationships has kind of been discounted and minimized, because it's harder to sell that stuff. But here we want to give you the resources that you can begin to apply today, immediately, and the effective practices, so that self-care isn't something separate that you do, but it's actually how you do.
It's integrated into your everyday.
It's part of your lifestyle.
It's like who you be. But it's also an opportunity for us to use our practice to make these changes, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us. It is community care. When we take care of ourselves, we're also becoming more available to take care of others. We can actually see what's happening, how my words land, how I'm being received by others, so that I can support and help and be available to offer possibilities and creative opportunities for whatever is showing up in the moment. So self-care is a way that we model. We walk, we talk, we be, we do, we act. It's the choices, the everyday choices that we make that others can resonate with. And I think last call, we were in a recent call with Katie, and she was talking about how we receive information, we resonate with that, and then we're able to respond. So when we're in our integrity, when we're in a place of care for ourselves and not in a deficit, when we're not attending to pain, trauma, injuries, burnout, irritations, we have ourselves more energy available to be with others, to take care of others. And I think that's what I think this community here is doing. We're finding different resources and ways that we can support one another's well-being, whatever practice, whatever way we're choosing to live and show up in the world.
And I'm reminded, there's a certain expression like, if mommy's happy, everyone's happy. And in the same way, like how you are mothering yourself, how you are caring for yourself, how can you feed someone else if your bowl is empty? And so when we are embodying our self-care in public, people are noticing, because it's weird, right? It's actually strange for you to like move your body, get up, stand up, stretch in the middle of a work or a public, like, well, what's that weird stuff? What are they doing? They're going to go breathe for 5 minutes in the middle of their workday. What? And, like children, we are always looking consciously or unconsciously about what those in our community are up to. And when you have the courage and confidence to be a pattern interrupter, to disrupt the norm, which is to sit down and be still. And when instead you're willing to move, you're willing to breathe, you're willing to touch, either literally or just figuratively, get in touch with your body, with your sensations, with your relationship with gravity, how your feet, your bum are touching the ground, all these different presencing moves in action. It's unusual, but it also provides a beacon. You provide a model and even a roadmap for others to be, ooh, remember Harry met Sally? I'll have what she's having. When you start to embody your self-care, you begin to give others permission to do the same. So we think a lot about, I was reading a great article, and he was describing how the science shows that you don't change people's minds with facts. You can explain over and over the judiciousness and the sound logic of your facts all day long, but that's not what changes people. What changes people is relationships. And when you bring your self-care out of the home, and yeah, do it at home too, but when you do it publicly, or you talk about it with a friend, with someone you care about, we're not telling you to go proselytize to the masses, but speak to the people that you speak to. And if you find something that's enlivening, that lights you up, that excites you, that reliably makes you feel better, share that. In fact, I would love for each of you to maybe put in the chat right now, what is one thing that you do that reliably makes you feel better? It could be something you breathe or move or touch or meditate or whatever. It could be beyond that script. But I bet you there's one thing that when you do it, no matter what's going on, you feel a little better. So if you wouldn't mind, just let's crowdsource a couple of those. Put that in the chat. What's one thing that you do that will reliably make you feel better? Oh, yeah. I love it, Rhodes. Smile. Yeah. And dance to fun music. Ooh, write letters or cards to friends, family with nice paper. Ooh, I like that
I love
one.
That. Yeah.
Ooh,
more dancing.
Yeah. Deep breathing, stretching. Yes. Skipping, especially in public. Yeah. Oh, we got some good pattern interrupters. Yeah. Walking. I know one of Nicole's favorite is walking the dog, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I know one of your favorites is making noises.
Yeah. Yoga, me too, Marty. In fact, we've done lots of yoga together. Yeah. Sit outside and be still. Yeah. Outside, nature. Sing. Yeah, more yoga. Yeah, we got some good yoga aficionados here. Yeah. And so we all know things that when we do them, they reliably make us feel better. Sit in my backyard. And some of us are doing that on the daily, and some of us aren't. And we're not doing self-care on the daily. Here's the good news. And this is a la the work of Dr. Amy Cuddy out of Harvard. You might be familiar with power poses. And the bottom line is when you take up more space, and
look
when
at that.
You
wow,
up,
look
hey,
at that.
Look at those.
That's
a lot of self-care. Get those armpits going like that. But when you take up space, when you stretch out, I'm going to really get this armpit thing going.
I think you should work it.
Yeah,
definitely use it.
When you open up your own hemisphere, your own movement, It only takes 2 minutes of changing your posture or changing your movement or changing how you're touching or getting in touch to make a physiological change.
A whole new cascade of hormones starts to circulate throughout our bodies in just 2 minutes of changing what we're up to.
An embodiment practice. I love that smile was the first one, because that's one of the things that is totally free. I used to be a stingy smiler. Let me share my story. Someone came on. Does someone want to say something? Go ahead.
Were you a stingy smiler?
I heard someone unmute themselves, so feel free anytime to unmute. I think maybe it's just a faulty button. But I remember 20 years ago or so that I would only smile after someone smiled at me. Right, I was very stingy smiler, because I had this story like, well, if I smile and someone doesn't reciprocate, well, then somehow I'm unworthy, and I'm flawed. Like, I'm just not gonna put myself at risk of getting smile rejected. And now, like, quite the opposite. I heard a quote years ago that the most important question you'll ever ask in your life is this a friendly universe or not? And when I first heard that, it's attributed to Einstein. When I first heard that, I thought, well, no, this is a dangerous world. This does not feel like a friendly world. And I said, but wait, that's a choice. Like, that's an interpretation, but there's a lot of choices behind that. And I said, hypothetically, if this was a friendly universe, how would I be showing up? And smiling was on top of my list. Get funnier, laugh more, and smile more.
Well, and then there's this whole body of research called embodied cognition, that if you smile,
well, when we're happy,
we smile, but when we smile, we also get happy.
That's a two-way biofeedback loop that we can benevolently hijack our nervous system to upgrade our neural platform. We can change our state of being, right? We can't get happy instantly, but if we are drifting into the debris and the doubt, the irritation, the frustration, the complaint, the blame, the criticism, well, we can shift with our breath, our movement, our touch, and our body. Yeah, smile. I like that one. One of our favorite ways to get embodied was, oh wait, one more thing we wanted to talk about with self-care. Another way to envision self-care, because it's not just about yourself.
It's about it. It reaches to our community.
Yeah.
But it also reaches generationally, forward and back. Some research suggests that the trauma that we heal in this lifetime will help heal the trauma for generations to come.
And that field of research is called epigenetics. And the converse is true too. If our forebears, our parents, grandparents, the generations before us, if they die without resolving their conflict, their drama, their trauma, that can make its way into the genetic gene pool.
And some of us repeating those same cycles of pain,
generation after generation.
So let's break those cycles of pain, of trauma, and start to create a new generation of kindness and care from the inside out. And we can do that just by taking pause, noticing, creating the space for my home base to resonate with, so that I can respond to what's happening.
Can I just share one more thing about generational care?
Please do.
Okay.
Could I ever stop you? I doubt it.
Well, you could say, let's move on, and I'd be okay with that.
I'm not sure.
Well, I'm thinking of my papa. So my grandpa was a gunner in World War II in a B-52. He got shot down over Nazi occupied Dutch Holland. And for the last 2 years of the war, he was a POW in a Nazi prison camp. And I'm imagining this guy, I knew him the first 20 plus years of my life before he passed, actually teens. And he never spoke about the war. He never talked to his grandkids, his children, his wife. Maybe he talked to his war buddies, but they didn't even have a word, I think they called it shell shock. They didn't even have PTSD, certainly not things like vicarious PTSD that us helpers and caregivers are witnessing and exposed to nowadays. But I know he didn't go to therapy. I know he didn't go to counseling. He didn't go and befriend his inner child, right? He didn't clear up and do tremoring to release his trauma out of his body.
Therapist?
And
Why would I pay someone to listen to my problems?
in fact, he was quite kerfuffled when his son-in-law, my father, decided to become a psychologist, a head shrinker. Why it took him a lot of time to actually value and appreciate that. And so I fast forward to now, and I see, my friends, I see, especially the younger generation, so open to, oh, I talked to my counselor, I talked to my therapist, I talked to my coach, like it's no big deal. It doesn't have the stigma and the significance and the importance of like facing our drama or our trauma and being willing to transform that in our lifetime has significant impact, not just for the immediacy, but I believe both ahead and behind our own personal gene line.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about stepping into a little more care. And I think maybe a conversation about Dr. Neff would be a great segue into care.
Kristen Neff, she's this very cool lady who has turned kind of the world upside down in her studies of self-compassion. So many doctors, so many researchers, so many studies are looking for what's wrong.
Yeah, looking at psychological illnesses and schizophrenia and what leads someone to homicide or suicide. And, same with the allopathic model, the psychological model is all negative based or deficit based. And
here comes Kristen Neff with her
first person to examine people's ratio
of kindness,
toward
and
themselves,
self-compassion, and what are the results of that when we daily or regularly have a self-compassion practice.
And so with her follow-up book, it's called Fierce Self-Compassion. And this is what's inspired much of our conversation today, looking at care, whether it be compassion or otherwise, from a yin and yang perspective. And a lot of us are familiar with that term, yin and yang. It's not black and white. They're not opposites. They're complements. And within the yin lies the seed of yang and vice versa. Yes. So nothing's all yin or all yang, all feminine, all masculine. There's nothing that's all the way.
No black and white. It's like shades of gray here.
Yeah, it's in the middle. It's at the edges and at the extremes where people get into disease, get into deficit, get out of balance. But to find balance, we want to be able to straddle both ends of the self-care and self-compassion spectrum.
Well, and to move like that wave, like kind of motion that you kind of see moving through the center, this wave, like just being with what rises and falls, and being open to experiencing my fierceness, my supportive self, my providing, motivating self when I need to be, and then being also available to give myself the comfort, the care, the soothing that I need when it's time.
And I love the metaphor of the mama bear or the papa bear, right? Like, no way are those cubs going to get in trouble. Like, mama bear is going to step right in. If there's a predator, if the cub is about to walk off the cliff, if she got to go catch the salmon in the freezing water, like, she shows up, and that's nothing naughty happen to them cubs. And in the same way, if we were our own mama bear inside, why, we wouldn't let anything happen to our little cubs, our heart, our mind. We would not tolerate people trespassing. We would not tolerate people speaking in a contemptuous, inhumane, a critical way. And so fierce self-care is this activating power. It's the power of prevention. It's the power of proactivity. There's not just rehab, but there's prehab, where we can, before things exist, put them in place, prevent trouble before it arises.
Yes.
And so what we're going to practice here in a moment is some opportunities to get in touch, to use one of our favorite means of shifting our physiology in favor of the neural platform we'd like to exist on, right? To get out of what's called the vagal collapse of immobility or depression or apathy, or a neural platform above. It's a little more mobilization, but fight or flight induced by adrenaline and cortisol, to upregulate our vagal tone so we can be in that place where we feel safe and we're available to collaborate and connect.
Yes. Yeah, because we know that healing really, it can't really happen unless we feel safe in this body, safe in my home, safe in this vessel that I'm bringing with me everywhere I go. Do I feel safe?
Yeah, and as caregivers, if we're helping support others in their learning or their healing, we must be a source of safety.
Am I a source of safety? I am a source of safety.
Yeah, try that on. I am a source of safety.
I am where safety comes from.
I am where safety comes from.
Mm.
Right? It's not sourced from the outside in. We need to, it's not an outside job, right? It's always safety is an inside job. We look around, right? Now, you may already have an answer. Am I a safe place for other people? I bet you are. Most of those on this call who are interested in self-care for community wellness. Yeah, you're doing that. Are you a safe place for your own little cubs?
For your own emotions? Am I a safe place for all my feelings to show up and arise whenever they do?
Am I a safe place for those thoughts? Whatever thoughts come in, can I receive them instead of like, oh, I ain't got time for that, or I'm thinking the wrong thing? Can I receive them with tenderness? And when they're not being helpful, find actions to dispatch of them and shift.
Am I a safe place for my body to move around in, to explore my own kinesphere?
So in a moment, we're going to ask you to stand up and join us. And we're going to do a little moving and breathing, get our body, get our instrument tuned up. And then we're going to use both tender soothing contact with touch. And then we're going to amplify. We're going to go to the yang side and see how it feels for a little strong, supportive touch and start to get a sense of our inner barometer. Sometimes we do need the tender soothing, and sometimes we need the umph of the strong, supportive. And sometimes you don't know until you actually try it on. So Katie, I love Katie Hendricks often brings this quote to the front. Experience precedes insight. If you want to have an insight, a sense of awareness about where you are right now and what it is you most need and want, it's helpful to create an experience. The scientific method, right, starts with the theorem, the hypothesis, then there's the experiment, there's a bunch of steps, and then you come to your conclusion, the results. But the experiment is kind of important. A lot of people jump from hypothesis to results. And they don't actually have an experience that tethers them to the truth. So what we'll be inviting you to do is actually embody this. Another quote that is coming to me is from
And
Yoga and More. Only 1% of self-care is theory. The other 99% is practice.
My favorite part. Yeah. So let's practice.
So we're going to stand up. I'm going to push the camera back a little. We're going to ask you to join us if you don't mind.
Find a little open space for yourself if you like. You can do the sitting, of course, if that feels safest in your body. Please do that. Otherwise, you can come on standing with us.
If you'd like to take your shoes off, you're welcome to, or keep them on. Whatever's clever.
All right.
And if you do have questions, we will not be able to read anything. So we'll ask you to unmute if you have questions for this portion.
So let's just warm up our bodies a little bit. We're going to interlace our fingers. We're going to inhale in front of our body and then all the way up to the sky. Stretch up, reach up, hold the breath. And then on the exhale, just let your hands part and come down by your side. Now, let's do that. Let's do that 2 more times. We're going to build on it. Inhaling. Reach up, stretch up. And this time, come up to your toes, balance. And then let it go.
Drop your heels. And we're practicing the purging breath. In through your nose. Hold it. Maybe lift up if you like. And then drop the post as you exhale out of open mouth. So if you want to focus more on releasing, letting go, maybe change the interlace each time. In through your nose, out an open mouth for letting go, for purging, or in and out the nose more for tonifying, strengthening.
Let's bring our hands up. this time, building, we're gonna stretch up, reach up, and instead of reaching up under our toes, we can exhale to the right. Stretch and stretch open into that spine. Maybe turn your body if that feels good.
And keep breathing. Don't hold your breath.
Just noticing how your body wants to move to the right. Inhale, center. And to the left. Oh, stretch, stretch, stretch. Open, open, open.
Smile to your body.
Squeeze one side, open the other. And then next inhale, coming up to center. Stretch up, reach up one more time, and then exhale. Down by your side. Oh, let's wake up that spine, that central line, that governing and central channel right in the middle of your body, where it kind of helps. It's the highway of information, our central nervous system, highway of chi, energy, blood circulating through. We're just going to inhale. Let's just do some flexion extension of the spine. So
arch your spine, tailbone goes back.
Reach, reach, reach back. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone, bring everything together, let all the air come out. Let's go back and forth a few times, moving at your own pace as we knock on that door of meditation, matching our breath, our movement, bringing our attention and our focus with us as we reach back and breathe in. And exhale, tuck and breathe out, let it go. Let's do that one more time like this, reaching, 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 expanding, opening. Exhale, letting go, softening. This time as you come up, let's look to the right. Twisting that spine. Exhale, center. Inhale, left. Exhale, center. Let's do one more time each way. Oh, that feels so good. Biggest movement yet so far. And this time, let's make it the biggest, the widest, like you're a star. Reach all your hands up towards the sky, reach them back, back, back as far as you like. Your hands, your feet spreading and reaching apart from each other. And then exhale.
Drop your arms.
Let it all go.
Nice.
Yeah, feeling nice and warmed up there. So I think we're ready for a little.
Yeah, let me grab my cheat sheet.
Yes, please do, because. So we're going to try on a little bit of fierce and a little bit of tender
Soothing touch. Yeah. So this is based again in Dr. Neff's fierce self-compassion. So let's begin. Did you want to begin or?
You can do it. I'm okay.
Okay.
With that, whatever you like.
So let's begin. Just one hand on the heart.
Okay.
So our anatomical heart's right behind our chest bone. I know we're taught, a lot of us in America, to pledge allegiance on it. We have a bigger chunk on the left side, but the heart's right in the center. So try which hand feels more natural. It's the left, the right.
Maybe it's both.
Maybe it's palm over palm. Find what feels good and just pause here. Your eyes could be opened or closed. You could be standing, you could be sitting, you could be lying down if you like. Maybe rather than having your mind tell you what to do, check in what would my body, how would my body most like to be sitting, standing, resting? And take a few deep breaths.
Yeah, notice how it feels to tenderly touch your heart with one or both hands. And maybe that wants to change. Which hand's on bottom, which hand's on top? Take another breath. Is this more, does this feel comforting, soothing, or maybe it feels more irritating and annoying?
And when you notice the touch, not just the touch of your hand to your flesh, but even imagine yourself receive the touch from inside your body. Can you feel the touch just from inside your flesh?
How about maybe one or two hands to hold and cradle your face?
Ooh, I like this one. This automatically, I feel my body smile.
Maybe one, right or left, or maybe both. How does that feel for you? Maybe it's a hand on the forehead. Maybe that feels better, or on the back of your head. Just kind of notice where you, around your head and face, where you like to contact gently.
I notice my breathing slowing down. My body's making more of a, bless you. My body's making a little tone. Notice my voice kind of dropped an octave.
Well, maybe we want to kind of like stroke, like a little brushing, maybe down the arms. Maybe that This feels gentle and soothing and kind, nourishing. Maybe it's going up the body, or is it going away? Bringing it in or bringing it away from? Maybe it's a brush across the chest or the back of the neck, or even on your low back, little circles. Just
Sometimes
notice.
just brushing the sides
I
of your
love that.
neck helps increase your relaxation response. You're calming your vagal nerve, your vagus, your carotid, backwashing your jugular, or through your sternum. It's a little soothing around the back of your ear.
Yeah, how does that feel?
A little tender, little soothing touch.
How about a little bit of a squeeze with that? Maybe add a little squeeze to that little brushing, and kind of see how that feels. Does that feel nurturing, nourishing, tender?
Oh, I like squeezing the traps. That's
I
a
know,
nice
isn't
one.
that feel nice?
Mm.
I do that too.
Yeah,
It's really good.
grab that trap.
You make it a little bigger, and notice maybe you want to just give yourself a nice big hug. Notice how comfortable you are giving yourself a nice hug.
Yeah, I almost feel like I want to rock.
I know, yeah, I need to. I feel myself to a little sway. And then pause, let all that go, and notice how all of that felt. How did that feel? Any particular one felt especially yummy or juicy to you? Particularly nourishing and soothing? Or notice how irritated you are.
Yeah, or you might notice that is
How-
not your cup of tea
How
today.
annoying that feels right now.
If your system, if that experiment yielded results that, you know what, no, I'm more amped up, I'm more
I
stressed.
got a little more energy than that right now.
Yeah, so just notice, because we don't always know mentally until we embody it.
Right. So we can try on the other end. So we're going to slowly go to the spectrum onto the other side. As we first start with bring a fist up to the heart instead of an open palm. How about a fist over your heart?
Oh, immediately I feel my shoulders change. Yeah.
Feel myself kind of lift a little bit. So just kind of notice how your body responds.
Is it the right fist you like, or the left, or
I notice I want to tap
are you just getting into
I get into
little
like
King Kong?
my little gorilla mode.
And that would be a little more strong, right? That would be more yang kind of care. It'd be a tapping, but you could pause and you could cup it.
Oh, yeah.
So you could kind of embrace the strength with that care. Eyes open or closed. Our Qigong teacher used to say, sometimes you have to close your eyes so you can see. So notice on the inside, how does the soft fist at the heart feel?
Or maybe even over your solar plexus, the big energy center right here, emotional center right over the solar plexus. So you can bring a fist over that. You can tap it. Notice what happens when that happens. Ooh. I feel like I just burped myself.
And you birthed the baby.
Maybe two hands, one hand with a fist, one hand with a palm right over it. And just kind of notice that center, this big power, energetic, emotional center, your solar plexus, how it feels. Any more powerful than the heart?
And also notice not only where you're contacting, but other areas. So if you notice, your shoulders, your face, your neck, your jaw kind of tightening, those are kind of the early warning system for your stress response. So just be mindful of what's happening, not only where you're focusing, but on all the bits and pieces.
Yeah. How about like a little squeeze on the hands, kind of like a
Like
big,
you're wringing out your hands.
cool.
And there is lots of science that reveals fidgeting and messing around with your hands makes you smarter.
Yeah, well, you activate more of your brain.
Yes, in fact, a quarter of your entire motor cortex, the part of your body that determines how you move and stand, and if you can,
Is dedicated
just to your hands.
just to the sensation.
Even though this is not a quarter of your body, there's a lot of
Yeah,
smartness in these little tendrils here.
so really use them to help access information, to get smarter,
Yeah.
to refresh yourself, to feel more powerful,
Mm.
to feel more resourceful in the moment.
Oh, there's also where you put your hands on your hips. This is like a power pose, right? Where you occupy more space.
I love
You
it.
take up more space.
Yeah, you know what? And taking up your space doesn't take away space from somebody else.
A few deep breaths here. Yeah.
We can both be big in the space.
Yeah, yeah. We invite your biggest self here and now to join us. We want the biggest players, the biggest you to occupy the space of your body, your heart, your mind, your spirit. Get big with us. Yeah. Space is, the physicists tell us, is continually expanding. So hey, we've got room.
Let's expand. And then we'll pause and just kind of notice how that little series went for you.
Did you have a favorite? Did you like today? Did your system, your body, prefer more of the tender, like the single or double hand on the body, the soothing, the brushing, more of the tender soothing? Or today is your body kind of craving a little more oomph, a little more ferocity, or maybe it's a little combo move, a little of both. So just notice that. We'll come back to the computer.
Cool.
Grab a seat if you'd like, or feel free to stay standing, or if you're laying down, we'll bring the camera a little closer to us.
Thank you. Yeah, so shaking that off, maybe give your whole body a little shake.
How'd that go? What did you
Yeah.
think? And we'd love to hear feedback. This would be a wonderful time for those of you who are on the call. If you would be willing to unmute or put in the chat anything that you noticed, that you felt, or a shift in how you feel. Would anybody be willing to unmute and share for a moment about how that went? We'd love to hear from you.
I loved the get big. That was great.
Oh, cool.
I love that.
I did too. Feels
But
so
I
good.
also noticed though with this and going in, let's see, how did I
Oh
go?
yeah, like stretching to the sides, yeah, and then coming to the center.
I burped.
Yeah,
Wow.
little energy shifts. Yeah,
Oh,
isn't that nice?
wow. It
So
felt
that's
so
actually-
good.
Yeah,
That's
so
good
nice.
news. In traditional Chinese medicine, they call that releasing rebellious qi.
Oh, good.
Nicole, when she practices qigong, she sounds like an adolescent boy just making burping noises all
Yeah,
day.
just constantly.
But it's
Right,
kind of like moving the furniture
One of our teachers,
inside
yeah,
your
one of our teachers
organs.
says it's like internal feng shui. So you're kind of making new space for the new energy, the new qi, the new breath to have a place.
And you're resonating your inner atmosphere, right? The atmospheric pressures inside your body with the atmospheric forces outside. So
it sometimes shows up as burping, but it also can show up as yawning. Yeah. And sometimes tingles, sometimes little like champagne bubbles on the skin. And sometimes even like a little leaking for like just out of your eyes, or salivating in your mouth.
cool.
All really good signs of like we're changing our current state to a new place, a new awareness.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Anything else you
Yeah,
wanted to
very
share
cool.
on that, or was that it?
I think that was it. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you jumping in and
much.
sharing.
That was a
Cool.
revelation. Thank you.
We love revelations. So cool.
Well, we really think that this whole self-care thing that we're up to, that we are up to here in this community, is evolutionary, revolutionary, to redefine it, to talk about it in a new way, and to show up as people who not only care for others, but and can care for myself, so that I'm giving as I'm receiving. I can receive as I give, and that there is room for all of us to show up in our bigness, so that we can all benefit. We're all boats rise to the surface, and we're all walking away smiling, holding each other up, and yeah, in support of the new kind of vision of where we want to be and who we want to surround ourselves with.
I mean, be the change you wish to see in the world. That's what we're talking about. If you want to have a more loving community, if you want to live in a neighborhood filled with care, then show up in that way. Show other people what you think.
Right.
Be the vision. Like, take your vision, take your dreams and manifest them, and ask for really cool people that you like to join you.
Yeah, so that we can pull ourselves toward them and they pull themselves towards us.
Oh, cool. We had a bunch come in through chat. And Daphne said, that was awesome. I'd love to have that series of movements. And So Michelle is recording this session, and it will be available shortly. It'll be posted on the Foundation Conscious Loving Living.
And it's in Kristen Neff's book on self-compassion,
But
fierce
she might
self-compassion.
have meant the movements.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And the touch series is also available in her book. Yes, but yeah, you'll have this. Sorry.
Anne shared, I'm in a hospital bed, but I enjoyed the tender touch on neck and hand,
as you're
on
healing.
hips.
Oh,
made me
sending
feel
some
stronger.
healing energy to you, Anne.
And I'll invite
Yeah.
everybody who'd like to loop in with Anne.
Some tenderness.
Healing in her hospital bed. Our hearts are resonating with you. Thank you for sharing your presence with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Marty shared, today I really enjoyed the soft brushing.
Oh, and was it going away that felt better or coming towards you?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So it's fun to start to refine our reservoir of tools that we use regularly and intersperse them throughout the day to discover what is it that does feel nourishing and juicy and enlivening to me in the moment.
Oh, Jan, cool. Today, she says, I enjoyed the bigger, bolder stances. Oh, I love the alliteration, bigger, bolder stances. I feel relaxed and more confident. Yeah, and those bigger, bolder stances, again, the science of Amy Cuddy's research with the power poses, those bigger, bolder, they decrease your cortisol,
Yes.
stress hormone, and
increase your testosterone.
which, yes, women and men both have testosterone.
Well,
it's associated with decision making,
yes.
clarity, choice
Leadership.
making, assertiveness.
Yes.
Very cool. Very
So
cool.
yeah, how can we use specific movements and embodiment practices to help us kind of resonate with what we want? So hopefully now that you're kind of set ourselves up at the beginning with the intention of how do I want to feel when I walk away from today? What is the initial kind of like, what is it that I want to take away with me? How do I want to feel after this is all over? Notice if you're feeling that right now. Are you any closer to that?
and it doesn't have to be an hour-long yoga class, right? It doesn't need to be a huge time investment, just 2 minutes.
2 minutes is all it takes to shift our consciousness, to create a whole new biological internal response so that we become more resourceful in the moment, not only for ourselves, but for our community. And yeah.
And we just want to let you all know, if you want more self-care, please check us out at our website, livingmeta.com. And we have a treasure trove of resources available, a bunch of different free resources. You could even become a member of our community, where there's literally hundreds of breathe, move, touch opportunities. If you're interested in any of that, we would appreciate you checking us out. Living Meta.
And we have a ton of stuff on YouTube, Living Meta, free stuff, just self-care moves all over there.
And it's Living Meta. Thanks for
Thanks
putting that in there,
Thank
Michelle,
you.
with 2 T's.
Yes. With 2 T's.
So I'm noticing it's our time to finish. Thank you so
Wow,
much.
look
I
at
can't believe this
timing.
hour just, whew.
Yes, flew by.
And if you'd like, we'd love to put your voices on this call. Feel free to unmute yourself as we say goodbye, and we'll get your vibration added to this recording. We'd love to have it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, good. Oh,
Feel
you
better,
too.
Ann.
See you.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Much
It was great.
gratitude. It was really fun and informative, and it uplifts my spirit and my chi.
Yay! Happy
May
tea.
be filled with kitty all night long.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So glad to
Happy
see you
New Year.
all.
Doing this-
Appreciate it.